Um,
So while Sam gets that up, as Chris explained, Samantha and I have both been working in social media for quite a while. As I explained in my introduction, and for those of you who might have missed it, work at MediaCom, which is a media buying agency, and I am in their social department, focusing and leading influencer activations. And so with that, I have a lot of, exposure to what a lot of the, big brands need in terms of social media, and, really understanding how people are putting their investments behind different social strategies. So today we're going to talk about social media for your business. And if we can go on to the next slide.
okay, let me just put it up.
Awesome. So today we're going to be covering obviously what's topical. So social media status update in terms of how has COVID-19 affected social media? What are other brands doing on social? And why is social media so critical for your business today? This is all pretty theoretical and really explaining the value of social media for you, and helping understand how to really execute that is going to be in the second part of this presentation. Where we become really practical in explaining how to create a business profile, how to make your Instagram stand out, and really understanding your Instagram analytics. Next slide. Thank you. So to begin the social media status update, we've seen a 61% increase in usage rates across 30 markets over normal usage rates for social media, which means that there's a bunch more people on these platforms, which, obviously means a lot more eyeballs to capture. 50% increase in messaging apps across Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. And then finally, there's a 23% increase in daily Twitter users compared to a year ago. So people who used to not even be on social media are now joining as well. So we're having longer periods of time with users on the platforms, in addition to completely new users joining as well. And so what does this mean for advertising on social media? Some agencies are reporting a 76% increase in engagement for branded social campaigns as a result of the increased activity, which means that you are now able to capture a lot more engagement, a lot more connections on social media than ever before. And it's important to understand, out of this increase in people on social media, who are these people? Who are the people that you're trying to connect with, and where can we optimize? So the key insights from this eMarketer report that was released in April shows that obviously there's more or less an even skew between genders that are spending time on social, but the real opportunity comes when we want to capture Gen Z and millennial attention. And then finally, what I've personally found really interesting is that the higher income individuals are actually spending more time on social now. So as you can see in the second to bottom bar, the 75K plus income holders are spending 55% more on social. And this is assuming, since they're not essential workers, that they have more time at home, and are investing that on social platforms. So what are other brands doing on social during COVID? It's an interesting question, and I was excited to build this slide because my days have actually turned into 14, 16-hour days since COVID has happened, even though I'm working from home, because a lot of the investment that would have traditionally gone into out-of-home or billboards, or anything like that has now been pivoted into social. So we are pitching, P&G Pride right now. We're pitching PlayStation, we're pitching all sorts of things to help capture that revenue for advertising, because big brands understand that that's where everybody's going. So some examples of what my company has worked on, in addition to what the larger ecosystem of brands and what they're doing. I think the two top trends is real life events turning into digital events. So for example, when the Olympics announced that it was going to be postponed, Alienware, which is a Dell gaming brand, decided to launch their own gaming Olympics, which will be starting in July. And we've been contracting celebrities from the Steve Aokis of the world all the way down to the more micro niche gaming influencers to participate in this tournament where everyday gamers can join, play with their favorite celebrities or gaming influencers, and ultimately there'll be a winner at the end where the brand, of course, will champion their product as a prize. And then there's also a lot of, cultural and religious events that we're also missing out on during this time. For example, bat mitzvahs are hugely pinnacle to, obviously the Jewish religion, but also their culture. And, a lot of young girls who are missing out on celebrating their womanhood with their family and friends. P&G saw this opportunity and jumped in with their feminine care products. They hosted a virtual concert by A-list celebrities, and the president of Israel actually wished the girls happy bat mitzvah during this live stream. So obviously it's not the same as having your own bat mitzvah, your own family members, and sort of having the spotlight there. But what this brand was able to provide instead was an event that they would have normally never have been able to experience before. Similarly, the second trend that we've seen is brands inserting themselves into the COVID discussion to become more relevant. So for example, Anheuser-Busch, which is a beverage company, typically known for their beers and whatnot, they have, worked on launching a branded hand sanitizer to be distributed to their nonprofit partners. And what this does in a traditional marketing sense, just like having a normal tote bag with branding on it, it gets walked around, more exposure, sure. But with this is, one, whenever they market about it, they get great brand equity because they're seen as supporting, the healing from COVID and also helping shortages, whatnot. But also because their branding is on these everyday products, it's going to be seen everywhere. And so other brands like LVMH has jumped onto this trend as well. And they're making sanitizers, masks, whatnot to help shortages and to have their brand logo out there. And I just want to put this into context for what this means for social. So on to the next slide. Taking Anheuser-Busch as an example, at the bottom here, it shows that their average engagement rate on Instagram is 2.75, which means that the average likes per image is 611. However, when they posted this post announcing that they wanted to say thank you to all the teams that produced this hand sanitizer with their logo and branding on it, also letting people know that it's been distributed to communities in need, it saw 2,009 likes, which is 3.2 times more engagement than normal. And it really highlights the opportunity for brands to step into this COVID conversation and one, talk about how your brand might be helping communities. And if that's too much, then even talk about how in your workplace, you're supporting your own, colleagues or workers and how to deal with what's going on, because it is such a trending topic. It's one that your brand can't miss out on. And so why is social media critical for businesses right now? Obviously, it boils down to two things. One, there are more people than ever on social media right now. And two, as foot traffic subsides from traditional locations, we need to redirect that investment into capturing web and social traffic. So as your website is your anchor and the gravity source for your digital brand, all online activities should work in concert together to bring that traffic to that website. So bringing the in-store experience to the palm of your consumer's hand, as you can see in the top row here, this is how a traditional consumer path kind of goes. First, it's word of mouth, hearing about a brand from a friend, becoming a little bit more familiar with that brand or whatever product they might have. And then you might be window shopping, walking down the street, you see something cool on a display, and you walk into the store. Then once you're in the store, you have some store service, somebody who's there will help you to deliberate or decide between a couple of products. If you're not, let's say it's a skincare brand, you're not sure which moisturizer is right for your skin, that sales associate will help you make that decision and then swiftly move you to purchase point where you check out. We can do all of that on social now. So with influencer marketing, in addition to testimonials, so it can be some of your clients that you've worked with in the past, if they give you a good word on social, that's really building brand advocacy and reaching larger audiences, getting them more familiar with your brand. And something to note here is that you want to make sure that you're extending the life of your influencer investment by repurposing that content. So always ask for rights for whatever content you're getting from other people so that you can push it out on your own channels for an additional, audience capture. Then moving into the window shopping phase. What does this mean? Your content strategy is your display window for the front of your store. You need to design a content calendar that really sparks interest. So in the same way that you would put a sign outside saying 20% off, you need to have, promotional hooks. You always want to be relevant. So keep an eye on social for different trends that are coming about and borrow those tactics to apply to your own brand content and assets.
Hey, Lisa,
And then,
I should have asked this in the beginning. How do you want to handle questions? Do you want to wait till the end, or do you want to answer them on the fly while you're in that area?
I think
Time at
I'll
the end
answer
for
them.
questions if you want
Yeah,
to do it
we
then.
definitely have time for questions. I'm just scared that I won't be
Are
able
we
to
going to
see
do
you
it at
guys
the
in the
end?
webcam.
All right, so let's save it to the end then. I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Okay. So once you're in the store, that sales associate helps you, right? And we can do that on social through community management. So connecting with your consumers on a one-to-one basis is extremely important, especially if you do have a product that's a little bit more nuanced and has to be customized per person. So in order to do this, you want to be responding to comments. If somebody directly messages you on Instagram or anything like that, you want to be responding to that with your brand voice to help guide that decision making. And in addition to this, the more you engage with more people, the more you're commenting on other people's stuff and liking things, the Instagram algorithm will actually favor your content in future, so it gets pushed out to larger audiences. Because it's not necessarily true that when you post something on Instagram that everybody in your audience will see it. You need the algorithm to really favor your content. And then finally, purchase point. Social commerce is huge right now, especially for B2C companies. And so we want to seamlessly direct audiences to the point of purchase through these social platforms and the tools they provide to do so. And then layering on top, that Shopify data to help really understand your ROI and conversion rates. So I've talked a lot about general social advertising in theory, but one of the questions that I hear a lot from people who are starting out with advertising their business on social is, what should I use each platform for? So this is sort of a really high level view of what each platform does best. So Facebook is great for communities simply because they have fan pages that allow a lot of like crowdsourcing content, conversations, etc. I would highly recommend Facebook for any community-based work that you want to get done. Twitter is great for live events. That's why a lot of athletes actually have huge Twitter followings. It's because Twitter is where sports lives, it's where the news lives, it's where anything in rapid communication does best in. Instagram is definitely designed for lifestyle content and to build brand equity. So because Instagram, let's say in comparison with Twitter, doesn't have the same velocity of content on there, whatever you do post on Instagram is one static. It lives on that feed forever. So people can search it up through hashtag and find it for a really long time, which means whatever you do want to put on there has to be beautiful and it has to build on your brand equity. Pinterest, and this is something I always keep in mind or advise clients to do, is know that Pinterest, the demographic there is female and it's between 30 to 60 years old. Any other audience you want to capture, don't go on Pinterest because they are not there. But if you are on Pinterest and you do want to target that audience, make sure you're using inspirational, aspirational content. What does really well on Pinterest is any, home and garden businesses, any cooking and ingredients, recipes do really well there because people go on there to get ideas and then execute those on their own. A lot of DIY stuff does great on Pinterest as well. And the format of the content is really almost like a step-by-step or infographic, listicles, things like that inspire action more so than just passive consumption of content. And then YouTube is obviously long form video. So a lot of products that require education to use, or products that are in the higher price point, do well on YouTube, because people will usually, Google different reviews or testimonials if they have to pay a higher amount for a product. And so YouTube provides a really great opportunity here for audiences to learn more about the product before they put in that investment. And then finally, Snapchat is a unique one. I personally don't like to recommend it for people because it is so temperamental. But if you are targeting the Gen Z community, this is where you need to be. All of these platforms obviously have tools that help you convert and help you make money and move, your bottom line, move the needle towards where you need to be. You guys can read this on your own time, but I'll top line it. Facebook does really great with the carousel ads. Twitter has really great returns on links, especially because when you tweet a link, it provides a highlight bar at the bottom, which is basically more real estate for users to be able to click it. Instagram does exceptionally well with stories and swipe ups. Pinterest does really well with click out links that lead audiences to your website. YouTube does very well with link cards and different subscribe conversions. And then Snapchat, again, is sort of a temperamental one because their features keep changing. But recently, they've had some apps in there that help you actually go direct to purchase. So I've heard good things about it, but I'm not sure I would put my recommendation behind that yet.
All right, and then moving on to social media best practices. More than 25 million companies worldwide are using Instagram for their own businesses, which I found kind of interesting because that's a good amount compared to the personal Instagrams, which is like, I'm pretty sure it's about 1 billion, but that's also because you can have multiple Instagrams on your own account at once. As Facebook refocuses on connecting with people from with your family members and friends, Instagram has become the new home for brands, where engagement is high, followers are brand loyal, and real businesses' goals can be achieved. So if you already have an Instagram for your business, you should change. If it's a regular profile, you should change it into a business profile. But if you don't have an Instagram for your business, I would highly recommend creating one. And this is something we can do later on. But this is just steps on how to create an Instagram business profile. And the benefits to having an Instagram business profile compared to a personal one is you can have access to the Instagram insights, which we're going to go over in a little bit. And then you have the ability to add a contact button, and you're able to advertise and promote your own posts. And then I use examples from the doctor's Instagram that I manage for the rest of this. And basically how to make your Instagram stand out. We're going to just go over some steps on how to do that. Through your username, this is very important to make it very searchable. For instance, the doctor's name and his username is the actual username name, I guess. And if it was like, for instance, sassy girl 123, no one's going to be able to find your Instagram. So it should be involved with your company. Your profile photo should be relevant to your business. If it's a product, if you're selling tea, you want it to be probably a cup of tea. But if it's something to do with your company, it could even be a logo. Your Instagram bio is one of the first things that people will see when they're on your profile. So what you should do is summarize your business in under 150 characters because that's all you're allowed to use. Another benefit to having Instagram business is you can have a direct link to your website, which is right here, which people can then click on it and then just go directly to it. So for instance, if you're posting something and you're selling a t-shirt, you can in your caption put, if you want to learn more about this t-shirt, if you want to buy this t-shirt, go to the link in my bio and it's there. Another thing is the contact options, which include your email, phone, and address, which is just another way for followers to be able to contact you better. And how to make your Instagram stand out by branding your posts and stories. For example, just adding a logo or like a border graphic. As you can see from this on the left-hand side, we have like a sort of theme to the page just to keep it like aesthetically pleasing for other people to look at, so they want to come back to your profile. Some tips that you can like learn how to make your Instagram stand out more is competitor research. You can learn what is working and not working from your competitors. I found that to be very useful because it can be competitors that have 10 followers or competitors that have over 10,000 followers. It doesn't matter. You can tell just by their own Instagram and get more ideas of what kind of content that you want to post. Another tip is commit to a regular posting schedule. You want your followers aware and engaged of your content without overwhelming them to the point that they want to unfollow you. I know I've been in like a lot of situations on Instagram where I just see someone posting every single day and it just gets so irritating. You're just like, I don't want to see you anymore on my feed. Please, like, enough. So Instagram analytics, this is how you understand the performance of your posts and your account overall. This is another benefit to the business profile. And basically looking at your analytics is one of the best ways to identify failures and successes on your account. And by reviewing them, you can also use the feedback to improve your business strategy. Things that you can get out of the analytics are engagement rate, your reach, website clicks, audience demographics, and follower growth. How you can see your Instagram analytics once you create your business profile is you go to that little hamburger bar that's in the top right-hand corner, and then you go to Insights, and then it's there. So there's 3 different categories once you get to your Insights. The first one is content, and content, what you can see is what content you're posting is more engaging among your audience. You can also see which posts are doing better and what attracts people to follow your account. Now, previously, before business Instagram was a thing, I would have to do this like manually and just see, okay, this post got this many likes and this post got this many likes. So which one should we continue to do? So it's a lot easier to do it this way. The next category is activity, and this keeps track of people's actions with your account while they engaged and how many people actually see it. Because what Alisa said before, with just because you have 100 followers doesn't mean 100 people are actually going to see your posts. So as you can see, like from right here in the discovery, 895 people were reached to my post that I made, but it made 2,008 impressions. And you're able to see the profile visits once you posted it. You can see how many people clicked on your profile afterwards. You can see how many people clicked your website once seeing the post, and there's a lot more that you can see. And lastly is audience. Checking your audience tab section will give you a clear understanding of your followers, which will also help with understanding what kind of content you should continue to post. So as you can see in the first picture, the overall growth went down at -13, which is partially my fault because we haven't had enough things to post recently since we've been in quarantine, but it's also because we haven't been able to go do procedures too, obviously. But besides that, you're able to see where the locations are working and what isn't working. You're able to see the age range and the gender. And then in the bottom tab, you're able to see the followers, which you can see by hours or days when your followers are most active on your account. Allie, do you want to do this section?
Yeah, sure. So what do your Instagram analytics really mean? So when we're looking and analyzing our own analytics and trying to find opportunities for business growth, there are 3 main tips that we have. First, aim to mirror your audience demographic to your target demographic. So as Sam was going through her audience demos. Do you want to flip up one slide for a sec, Sam?
Yeah, go back.
So obviously, you know, this plastic surgeon does a lot of hair reconstruction, which means that his main target is going to probably be male and probably going to be, you know, a little bit after 30 years in age. And we can see that Sam has really successfully been able to build that in his audience naturally. So it's 69% men, which is great. It skews heavier towards that target demographic. And we also see that, you know, the main age group that follows this plastic surgeon is in their 30s. So it's at that prime sweet spot of capturing the specific audience that's going to be most receptive to this messaging. Will you go back down, please? Thank you. The second tip is to plan your content strategy or calendar around the days and times your analytics tells you that your audience is most engaged. So in the slide before, we saw that, you know, Tuesday and Wednesday and a little bit of Thursday were the most active. That's when you want to post, because you're more likely to get more engagement on that post when more people see it. But again, like we said, the more engagement you get, the more it's favored by the algorithm, which means it goes out to even more people. It's kind of a snowball effect. So what you want to do is really make sure within the first hour of you posting a piece of content that it gets the most engagement as possible, because that means the trajectory of that post to reach more people increases exponentially. And then the third point is understand which tools work best for your content. Is it swipe up or is it the sticker taps? And then once you understand what that is, continue to use those tools with your posts moving forward. So another thing that you'll be able to see once you turn into a business account is, for example, in stories, when you swipe up to look at your analytics, you're going to be able to see how many people clicked through on your links, how many people tapped on your stickers, how many people used your swipe up, how many people did this, that, or the other thing. And whatever is performing well, keep doing it. You know, if it's not broke, keep going.
And then some more tips on getting started. Be prepared to invest in your growth. You're not going to gain 1,000 followers overnight. So it's okay to purchase followers and likes in the beginning. You want to make your account as attractive as you can as possible so more people want to follow you. And unfortunately, that does mean people want to see that other people are interested in your account too. So you might have to purchase some followers and likes in the beginning, which it actually isn't that expensive. We do that for the doctor just to gain more interest in him. And it's like $5 a month. It's not that much. Another thing you can do is comment like other Instagram accounts. What Alisa was saying before about your engagement, that'll help you get onto more people's pages. The next thing is hashtags. A way you can figure out what hashtags are working is if you Google trending hashtags for your company. When I first moved out to LA, I didn't know anyone there. I didn't know what place to go to when I wanted a haircut. So when I wanted to get a haircut, I typed in on Instagram hair salons, and all these hair salons that were near me appeared. Another thing you can do is create a location tag for your business. So once I typed in hair salons near me and I saw a picture of this girl who had really pretty hair that just got it cut at this salon, I went to the location tab and I was able to see more things that the account posted, and I was able to see their contact info and everything. So we're gonna have a little practice for everyone, which is gonna be competitor research. So we're just gonna ask if everyone could just go onto either Instagram or Google or whatever and just type in a competitor that you may know, or just if you don't, type in, for instance, like my dad could put sales training, like just type in anything and just tell us what is working for their Instagram or something that you noticed.
And you're saying we can do this just in a web browser?
Mm-hmm. Or if you have the app, you can do it on Instagram.
Could do it on both.
You could.
Don't forget to take questions, guys.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions right now, feel free to shoot them across while everybody starts to sort of Google their competitors.
I have a ton.
All right, let's go.
So I'm an Instagram addict,
Mm-hmm.
and I need to refine my behaviors. So a couple of my questions are, I have a business page, but it's considered a personal page. Once I convert it to a business page, will everyone know it went from being a personal page to a business page?
They will not get notified.
Okay. But I'll have more options. And like if I have a link in the bio, it'll trigger to someone who knows that it's a business page.
Right.
Okay. What's the word listicle mean?
Good question. So listicle is a mashup of the word list and article. So a lot of traditional journalists actually hate listicles because they find it the laziest form of reporting. But it's basically like BuzzFeed, you know, those lists that they have, you know, 5 must-knows, top 10 must-dos. Those are all listicles.
Okay.
Sounds like somebody has a window open by a bus or something, if somebody doesn't mind closing
That's me, New York, baby.
I knew it was you. I was trying to be discreet.
It's free to transfer from personal to business, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Can you only put one link in your bio at a time?
Good question.
Yes.
You go first, Sam.
So one thing that we did for the doctor's Instagram is we actually use this website called later.com. And because we want to promote a bunch of things that the doctor's posting, obviously one being his website, so people will sign up for consultations and whatnot. But he also has a YouTube page and he also has a blog. So whenever we post something and we want it to be connected to that specific platform, you can use later.com, which is just another resource to use, which it will just appear with the picture that you posted, and you can just click on it and it'll go straight to that site.
Got it. I was always wondering how that happened, if it just naturally happened on a business account or if there was a pay to play opportunity in there. Can you schedule posts in Instagram yet?
That's another thing you can do on later.com. I really like later.com and I would really suggest looking into it. It's another free service and they also help you learn what's trending on Instagram and everything like that.
Would you use it over like Hootsuite or, there's another one I heard of that someone was telling me about.
I've never heard of Hootsuite, but I'll look into it.
Hootsuite is great for community management. We used to use it at MediaCom a little bit, but now we've moved on to Falcon. Falcon is like crazy expensive though. I would stick to Hootsuite.
Free. Okay. I've heard that it's important to stay online, stay in the Instagram platform after you've posted. Were you trying to say that, or did I just infer that because I heard it from somewhere else, that if I make a post, I should probably stay online or in the Instagram platform for like an hour?
I think staying in it and inactive won't do anything, but after you post and you're engaging with other people's content, you're liking things, you're commenting, that's going to favor you in the algorithm.
Also just engaging with, just keeping next to your phone if someone comments, oh my God, amazing job, or that's really cool.
Back.
Like if they have a question, the faster you comment back, it's more attractive for them to want to comment again to learn more.
I have a question, Alisa. When you were going over your slide and listing the different social medias, I did catch that you listed WhatsApp as social media, which I wouldn't have considered, but you didn't mention LinkedIn, which I would think would be a major player.
Right. LinkedIn, I agree, is a major player, but it's a major player for B2B companies. This presentation is more geared towards B2C, but I'm happy to speak to LinkedIn. I just haven't included it in this group. WhatsApp is actually a huge player in Asia. They're great for Asian consumers.
Okay, and there are some questions in the chat area if you guys.
Yeah, I was just about to address them. So one of them is, if we're looking to work with influencers, what engagement rate should we look for when we're looking to hire them? I have a benchmark of 3% as my minimum for engagement. Obviously, engagement rates average on a curve. As you know, the influencer gets larger, their engagement rate is going to go lower in terms of averages, because when you have a larger audience, it's hard to engage everyone. Micro influencers, which are the smaller influencers, will obviously have a higher engagement rate because they are closer with their community. It's easier for them to personally connect with more people. So I think, you know, on average, for a micro influencer, across the board, I have 3% as my guardrail. But if I'm looking more precisely into the different tiers, for micro, I'd like to have 5% or more. For mid-tier, I usually like to have 4% or more.
Alisa,
and then for, yeah.
what would you consider as micro? Are we talking 10,000 to 50,000 followers?
Good question. So the brackets that I go by is 20K to 100K for micro.
Okay.
100K to 300K for mid-tier, and
Gotcha.
then 300 to a million for macro, and anybody above a million is then considered celebrity.
Okay.
And then also, it's okay to message people on Instagram. It's okay to message the influencers on Instagram or something, and just be like, hey, I have this idea. Are you interested? And just tell like a brief thing of who you are and how you can help them. They don't really care about how they can help you necessarily. They want to know how you can benefit them. And obviously you can't be like, for the surgeon, I can't be like, oh, you're looking bald, do you want a hair transplant? Like, you have to be like, kind of like, just touch upon it.
Got it. Okay, cool.
Gilbert, she wasn't talking to you and me, don't worry.
No, it's okay. I know. I need that surgeon.
So when we're commenting on other people's, or we're commenting on others' posts, you had mentioned early in your conversation that we should be, I just wrote commenting, but I think I was trying to say, like, in my comment, how it was like something about writing reviews, like, or getting that review going. Am I like, how do I get good reviews in Instagram? Because I'm not really requesting reviews in Instagram.
Right.
Like, I would for
so based on memory, your business is behavioral coaching for excelled, you know, corporate, you know, launches, etc. So I think, for example, what you could do is you could have one of your clients do a story testimonial, and that's just, you know, them putting their phone up to their face, talking about what a great experience they had with you, and tag you in it. Once they tag you, you're able to push that out through your own business, so you can have that testimonial go live to your audience. And it's always important to have that content saved too. So, you know, in the case that you're shorthanded for content, you can push that back out.
Yeah, and you can always post like a post over and over again. Just because you posted it once doesn't mean that you had the same followers since then. So it's okay to post things like another time.
But leave the
Are you better off reposting or posting it fresh?
Fresh.
But yeah, you just want to keep your content consistent though.
So you delete the previous post from like last month and then repost that same.
I wouldn't necessarily delete it, because I've noticed, like, if I post a video and it's doing well and I feel like I can improve it another way, I can go back into editing another export of a video and re-uploading it, and just learning, I guess, from not mistakes, but learning from the things that I've done in the past.
I misunderstood reposting. I was like, instead of taking a post and reposting, I got it.
No, yeah, that makes sense.
There are a couple of questions in the chat here that I'd like to address. One of them is, so we are a B2B. Does it make sense for us to have a business on Instagram? I would say yes. I think
that was David Quick who, Alisa, that was David Quick who asked that question, and he's an IT provider, just to give you some background.
Right. And I think, you know, being an IT provider, being in tech, it's important to have sort of an official or authoritative stance within your social channels, to demonstrate that you know how to present your brand on different softwares, I think is one, important for impressions, but two, it doesn't hurt, right? I mean, you could still see what's going on. You're still able to market. It's just another channel to really educate yourself on how audiences are receiving your assets and content.
Piggybacking off of that, it's also another way to educate other people to want to use your services. So you can even post like little how-tos. It doesn't have to be big things, but it can be how to do this, how to do that. Just like little tiny 1-minute clips.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but you can also go with one post from Instagram to Facebook. So you're killing two birds with one stone.
I've heard that's not good to do.
Okay,
I've heard it's
why?
not good to duplicate. Because if you have similar, and I don't know if this is correct, but I've heard if you've got users who use Facebook and Instagram, they're following you on both, and you start posting things that they're seeing in duplication of, they start unfollowing you.
Right. So that's like what I kind of said before, was you don't want to overwhelm people, but it's also okay to also want to promote things. So what I do, I don't necessarily post the actual Instagram post. I might connect the Instagram story, just because stories aren't as commonly seen as the posts are. It's usually more people that are closer with you that want to see your stories to see what you're
On
up
Facebook,
to.
you mean a Facebook story?
And then with Instagram too, you can connect the stories with Facebook, but I forget where I was going with that. But
Creating
I
a
think
fresh link, like a link to your Instagram in Facebook.
Oh, now I remember. Okay. So like, let's say you posted a YouTube video. You can't really like just post that on Instagram. So if you posted it onto YouTube, you're able to, if you posted it like a link to it on Facebook, it's just another way to promote it. So you can do something like that.
But now with everything happening with IGTV, wouldn't you want to post it on Instagram TV? Or
so
is it automatic?
IGTV, I haven't really got to play around with that too much, just because it just started becoming a thing, and it just began to take off. I don't really know the numbers that go into how popular it really is, but it definitely wouldn't hurt to post stuff on there. You can post on Instagram as a regular post, up to a video up to 1 minute, but you're also able to post multiple videos at once as like a swiping feature. And if you post an IGTV story, what you can do is have it connected to your actual Instagram feed. So it will still appear. And then once the minute is up, it'll say, do you want to continue to keep watching on Instagram
and
TV?
It drops it into Instagram or IGTV.
Right. Yeah. So it's not a bad idea to like post on IGTV whatsoever.
I guess I just don't. So I need a whole different app. I need an IGTV app.
No,
I think IGTV is connected with Instagram.
Yeah, it is.
But I find it easier to organize it all with a different app. Because there's so many different apps, and there's so many within Instagram. I find it much easier to have that extra app. Just
right.
Okay, girls, you had more we've caught up with the questions. Do you want to keep going with your presentation?
Yeah, I think there's another question. How do you calculate engagement rate? That's a really good question. There's a lot of media math that's swimming around, but the most standard way to calculate engagement rate, let's say you have an Instagram post and you have however many likes on it, it's the likes over all of your followers. So if you have 10 likes and you have 100 followers, you do 10 over 100, obviously 10%.
I texted a question in the chat and I just said, can we have a lesson on how to pace out or pattern out our posts as well?
Yeah, so on each platform, the recommended cadence is a little different. We've got standard recommendations. So for example, on Twitter, recommended tweets per day is about 5. Instagram is at most 1 post a day. You can do 6 stories a day, but you usually lose the attention of your audience by frame number 7. LinkedIn is once a day or once every 2 days. Trying to think of other platforms right now. Are there any key interest platforms from anyone?
What about Twitter?
Twitter is 5 to 6 times a day.
Did you say Facebook?
Facebook is once a day, once or twice a day.
How about TikTok?
TikTok. Good question. I'm pitching them right now. They are a unique platform in the sense that all of the other platforms use a different algorithm. TikTok, you do not have to have a lot of followers to have your content be favored and pushed out and more discoverable by new people, which means somebody with 50 followers can have something go viral much easier than on any other platform because it's more of a democracy of content compared to any other platform. For that reason, and also because it's so new, I don't have a recommended number, but I would definitely say creative quality over quantity, because it doesn't really matter what you put out there based on your actual, I guess, following. What matters is how interesting the actual content is, and that's what's going to help it go viral. So
right. So like a trend on TikTok is the dances that you always see popping up, but like, which is like, it's cute to look at, but if you're a plastic surgeon, that's not your job. You didn't just go to all that years of school to become a dancer on an app. So one of the doctors that I do work with, he does a lot of boob jobs. And so what he did was he does like the dancing ones like as a fun thing every once in a while. But what he also posted was to show how impressive the saline packs that he uses, so he put it on the ground and drove over it with a car to show it wouldn't pop.
Oh my
so
God.
It's like interesting stuff like that you can post that people are like, whoa, what else are they posting about?
Like shock value.
Right.
Definitely. TikTok is 100% geared towards entertainment.
It's also younger users though too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Thank
a
you.
lot of these parodies we're seeing on the coronavirus where they're changing the words or whatever, but using the original dancing scenes, that's coming from that platform, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it is going viral.
So what's so interesting about this platform, because my team recently did a deep dive into it for this pitch, is one, it's garnered the most app downloads in history this month. And two, there are a lot more older people actually joining it because of the quarantining. You know, they want to be able to entertain their kids easily. This app is an easy way to do it. But it actually flips the teaching pathway, right? Usually the parent is teaching the child something new, and this is the child teaching the parent something new. And so for these reasons, the narrative, I guess, behind, how people are learning and using it is a lot different than a lot of the other social platforms, but also through the different hashtags that are being used, the different priorities that the platform brings about, which has been really interesting. Another thing that I do have to voice, though, is, there's a lot of controversy that the platform brings. Obviously, because it is a Chinese platform, if you have data concerns, I would recommend reading up on that before investing in it.
Keep going.
Let's see, do we have any other questions here?
Something that I would like just to say is I personally think that YouTube has become a great platform for people to teach things to people. So for instance, my dad just started doing those like tip of the week or like the bus pass of the week type videos. It's not a bad idea to do that, just to try promoting yourself and your business to other people who are either your clients or they could be potential clients, and they just come across a video and they're like, oh, this is cool. What other tips do they have?
Yeah, but you have to have a very talented daughter that can make you a bus animation at the end with the beep beep.
If I have to hear that beep beep one more time, I'm gonna throw myself in front of a bus.
I love the beep beep. All right, where are we at? Go ahead, Beth.
Samantha, you said before about buying followers. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because I would say maybe 18 months ago, that was a no-no.
Right.
I did that, I don't know, like 6 or 7 years ago, and all those, it was all fake people or bots or whatever, which I've taken out of my followers. But now that you're saying that, I'd like to learn more.
Yeah, so there's this one website that I use called SMM Grow, and if you post like once a week, it's not going to be that expensive to do it. I would only suggest buying followers in the beginning, like a 1 or 2 time purpose. Because when you also buy your followers, you want to make sure, because they aren't people usually that are going to actually like your accounts. They're fake accounts pretty much. But because you have the number of, oh, you just gained 1,000 followers like up there, people are like, why are 1,000 people following you? Is it the content that's good? Are you getting good messages out there? It's just another way to attract people to want to learn more about your page. I would also make sure that you want to make sure that with the amount of followers you have, you don't have, let's say you have 1,000 followers, you don't want to have just like 1 or 2 likes. You want to make sure it looks a little consistent, because it's like, oh, it's fishy if it's a little off.
Yeah, I've seen sites like that. They have 10,000 followers and 20 likes or 50
right
likes.
And you're just like, oh, so you bought your followers. So it's just like a good idea just to make sure you're up with it. Like, it doesn't have to be an insane amount. Like, if you have 1,000 followers, you don't need 1,000 likes. Again, like, not everyone's going to see your page on their thing, but you could do like 50 likes, so that's even fine.
But you had mentioned buying followers for $5. What are you getting for $5? How many followers, and who are they? Do you want them? Isn't there an aspect of quality over quantity?
So that's why you just have to like invest into it at first, because if you buy the followers, other people are just going to want to follow you and everything. It's just another way that it's like attracting towards them. And it doesn't really that was just like a number I just threw out there, that it's $5. But like the website's similar to SMM Grow, you can see all the packages that they include.
Just as a thing to add on and something to keep in mind in terms of the topic of conversation for buying followers, I think for businesses and to get started, it's a good approach. However, if you ever intend to be an influencer or want to be paid for your audience, I would highly actually advise against buying followers or likes, simply because it's so easy for me to go onto my tools and see if you've got real followers or not. Like, I can actually get it to the percent of how many real people are following you and how many bots are. And we can also see, the rate at which your audience has grown over 2 years just through this one app. And I can find that out in seconds. So if you ever want to be an influencer, don't do it. But I think for business, it's fine to use this method to start up your audience, if that makes sense. There's a nuance there.
And when you buy followers, basically you're just incrementing the number of followers that new people will see when they come to your site. So they're not saying, oh, there's only 1 follower on this account. There's not going to be anything here worth for me seeing. Is that kind of the idea?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, there's also another aspect to it. So bots nowadays are getting a little bit more sophisticated, mainly because they know that there are technologies out there, such as the one that we have, that can detect dubious activity. And so some of these bots will actually actively like your content, which works in your favor as a business, because it means that, again, the more engagement that there is, the more visibility your content will have with other real audiences potentially.
But it's also a good idea it's a good idea to look at your competitors' Instagram pages and look at who's already following them, because then you're able to see what type, like who you should be targeting to. And it's okay if you actually want to follow those people that are already following them, because they're obviously already following a competitor for a reason. So it's like, if you're selling the same thing, they'll be like, oh, that's cool, they're doing the same thing, let me see what they're up to too.
I got a dumb question. If you can pay to have followers, can you also be paid to be a follower?
I'm sure, probably, right?
So some influencer groups So I don't know how to explain this well. Let me start from the beginning. Obviously, influencers are a community of people that want to encourage each other, like each other's content to help each other get famous, right? So some of these subgroups within the influencer community have an honor system where if you're in the group, you must immediately like, comment, and share other influencers' content within the first hour of posting, because as I said, the first half-life, which is the first hour of posting, is what determines your content's trajectory. And so they're actually, I've heard from like rumors and, you know, working with these influencers that these subgroups are actually super aggressive, that if you don't like someone's content within the first hour, they'll literally kick you out. So I don't think it's a matter, I mean, there probably is something out there where you can get paid to do this. It probably exists is what I guess my short answer is. But there are actually other like communities in place that find this really competitively aggressive.
Yeah, I've been kicked out of a pod for not doing that right away.
Yeah.
Exactly. But my question, so I do some influencing. I work with lots of liquor brands and clean cocktail brands and clean food brands. But I lost a couple campaigns in, you know, March, April time. I was wondering what you see coming up for this. Like I have about 15,000 followers. What do you see for smaller influencers?
Sure. I mean, definitely, as you said, at-home cocktail recipes. I used to run the liquor.com community, and they have, you know, a bunch of people submitting cocktail recipes and whatnot, and they usually have like a monthly winner for the different submissions. Yeah. So that's a lot of fun, and that'll be great. I think a lot of the campaigns that are going to be coming out immediately are going to be those ones that have attractiveness to at-home lifestyles. Like cooking is going to be a lot. There's going to be probably a lot of at-home concerts. I've spoken to a couple of different label companies that are doing virtual concerts, and they're getting brands like Chipotle to buy stages. So that when you're viewing it on a stream, you're going to see Chipotle at the top, like an actual stage. But in the long run, and this is the biggest headache of my everyday life right now, is travel industry. They're going to have to come back and start promoting. So I actually have an American Airlines campaign that's going live in July. So you're going to see a lot of drumming up that confidence to travel again kind of messaging coming out. Let me think what else might be coming. As an influencer, I would be on all of the platforms where you can volunteer to, I guess, participate in a campaign. I think there are platforms out there where you can see different campaigns that are open that you can apply for. Other things that I would be doing is keeping an eye on your engagement rate. Make sure it's above 3%. Make sure your audience is healthy and clean. And finally, in your bio, include as many words as possible that will filter you for different searches. So for example, I use Creator IQ to filter my influencer search. And let's say you can produce content for cooking, you can produce content for liquor, you can produce content, I'm making this one up, just like a really random one. Like let's say you're a magician. Obviously the magician part, you might not be able to just know, so you have to put it in your bio, because the technology will scrape all the words within your bio and filter that through within these platforms, so that you would pop up for me if I typed in magic now per se, than if you hadn't had the word magic in your bio before.
And then go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just going to move it along.
Okay, and then Samantha asked, I have contents. What can I do to maximize participation? I would honestly recommend like reaching out just to close family and friends to be like, hey, can you just post this on your story? It's like one click. It's not gonna, you're not asking for a limb. Like you're just like, can you post this on your story? That's just getting more awareness out there of it. And then I wouldn't have them too often, just because you want to grow your Instagram. So you just want to like have people be interested in waiting for it. And you don't want to just be like every day, hey, we're going to sell this, we're going to do this tomorrow. Like you want it to be I'll give you a week span. If like kind of like everyone submit now, and then on Friday, I'll let you know who wins.
Yeah, I've done stuff like that, and I've also done like I run a dance competition, so I did like all these challenges and send photos and get featured on our page, and the person with the most likes gets a free solo and stuff like that, and like a lot of stuff just I didn't get any bites on, so I didn't like some posts look stupid because there's nothing there, but I can't take them down because of the branding that I have and the pattern that I have set up. So like, I don't know. I kind of transferred everything to tag it in your story, post it in your story. That way they're not looking for it in the feed. But okay, I got you. Just ask people I know.
Since you're working with like dance, do you have a TikTok account?
I literally just downloaded the app the other day, and I don't know enough about it, so I've kind of been playing around with it. When I talked to a few different people about it, they were like, you know, TikTok is more like the kids, and the kids don't pick the competitions they want to go to, the studio directors and the parents do. So because of that, I was kind of steering away from it, because it doesn't matter how many kids I have following if I don't engage with their parents and the studio directors, then it's not going to turn around for business anyway.
Right. I was gonna say like, because of what I was saying before about TikTok dances and how they're so popular, people are constantly posting new dances that they want people to pick up and follow like the trend and start reposting it, and everyone just starts doing the dance. It wouldn't be a bad idea to at least like just get some awareness doing that, just by having little dances or just showing even just competitions that you've been to in the past, or it's because it's just like a simple little click of posting. It can't hurt, because then also you can gain a following on that, and if like let's say one of the videos does go viral, then you can have your contest posted on there too.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think to add on to that, and I totally agree with your stance that you want to be, you know, reserving your energy for targeting those people that are the decision makers for participating in your competitions. But considering the climate that we live in and COVID, there are two things that have changed about TikTok. One, kids are bringing their parents onto it. And so you're going to have some of those eyeballs on there now that you wouldn't have had before. And two, because everything is now going virtual, TikTok is going to be an exciting platform to have a dance competition. And you're going to see more of that coming up. Part of the pitch that I'm working on for them is they're launching a live feature, which 100% would be able to facilitate a competition.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Of course.
We've got about a half hour left, just so you know, at the max.
Any other questions?
Did anyone look up their competitors to see what they like and don't like?
I sure did.
What'd you notice?
There are a lot of videos and a lot of challenges, and I guess just because their followings are a lot bigger and they've been around a lot longer, people just engage more. So I definitely, the last few weeks, I've definitely been posting more videos and highlighting more kids, and you know, trying to get the parents' participation as well with like, we do memory lane run day where you like, you post your kid's first dance picture, or like your first dance picture. So like I got some hits off of that, but definitely just community engagement and just involvement overall.
Yeah, I like that idea that you did.
I came up number 1 on Instagram. At least I think I did.
What'd you type in?
Sales training.
Did you click on your search history? That's not right.
I did. Can you see?
No, your background's.
All right, I'll show Samantha afterwards.
Well, if you go to the hashtag section of that,
Yeah,
you can probably see more posts.
you'll show me afterwards.
Yeah, 'cause it's
So-
been a struggle
Just having
showing
you
my
in the
dad
other room.
something.
Quick question, guys.
Yeah.
I have a side business where I sell like customized kitchen apron, and I'm looking to kind of get different influencers in the food and kitchen space to help market it on IG. Any particular platform you would suggest to find influencers that's not, enterprise based, but it's more small business based?
Right. So in terms of platforms, the ones that they all come in pretty expensive except for one that I'm aware of, and I worked on this platform for about 6 months. Their search filters in terms of location aren't as sophisticated as others, but it is a completely admirable platform for the price point. So it's about $499 a month, which is a
Cool.
lot, but it has the same capabilities as something that's $70,000 a year.
Gotcha. What's it called?
Dovetail. DOVETALE.
Perfect. Thank you.
Another thing I can add to that is, can't make any promises, but after when I first moved out to LA, I went on care.com and just looked up for babysitting gigs, and I started babysitting for a celebrity chef that I can ask him if he'd be interested in doing anything with that.
Cool.
If you're interested.
Yeah, we could talk more down the line. I'll shoot
Yeah.
you like a message or something. Thank you. Appreciate
Okay,
that.
cool. Yeah.
I think in terms of searching for influencers organically, though, definitely look up the hashtags. So
Yeah.
Google top used hashtags for cooking, and then when you plug that into Instagram, you're gonna see all of the posts that have that hashtag aggregate into that feed, and you can click into the types of posts that are stylistically most aligned with your brand and see
Gotcha.
if those people have large followings and just DM them. That's the most guerrilla way to do it. The cheapest
Yeah,
way too.
And even if someone doesn't even have like too big of a following either, it's not a bad idea to just reach out to someone and just be like, hey, would you be doing this? Because even if you do just gain a little bit of followers compared to if someone who has a bunch, it's still getting awareness out there of your company.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
I also had heard that if you use hashtags that are a little bit more off the beaten path, that also helps because there may be less followers, but they may be more genuine and apt to interact.
I totally agree. Yeah. I wouldn't say off the beaten path though. I would just say more specific.
Or that.
Yeah. Because if it's more specific, for example, like let's take the aprons, for example. Obviously that's in the cooking category. So people who are just generally looking for hashtag cooking stuff may not see your content, but if they type in personalized or customized aprons and put that hashtag in, and they might see yours if you've, made your hashtags as specific as possible, you'll have a better chance of having your content rise to the top.
Cool. Thanks, guys. I already got some of them on there, so I'm taking action right away.
Nice.
This was great. I got to jump off because I got another meeting. But thanks again for inviting me, Chris, Sam, Alisa.
Yes, thank you, Gilbert, for coming. Don't forget 4 o'clock bang if you're interested.
I'll be another call. Bye.
Okay. Bye. Thanks for coming in. All right. Did you guys want to do anything further before we go to more questions? Was there more to the presentation? No? Okay.
That's
So
it.
any more questions out there? Sarah, did you have one? Or were you just waving? Melissa, anything else? Beth?
You're talking about hashtags. I'm putting together my hashtag groupings. I usually do 3, but there's a huge disparity between the advice. It's not your advice. The advice that's out there between like doing ones that are like 40 to 200,000 versus over 200,000, depending on how many followers you have. I was wondering what your opinion was.
I would do a couple from both spectrums. You want to make sure that you're searchable by these influencers, and this is me speaking through your perspective of also being an influencer in addition to a business. You want to be searchable with the more general ones for getting pulled up in influencer searches, because whenever I'm looking for influencers, it's going to be more general, and those are the hashtags I use. But in terms of, like, let's say I'm looking for a really specific recipe for something, then I'm going to use the more specific ones to do both ends of the spectrum, but never the middle. We got to live in extremes here. It's in the social age.
Okay. Any other questions? David, quick. Carl?
Now, do I need a personal Instagram as well as a business, or that doesn't matter?
It doesn't matter, but I mean, again, it wouldn't hurt, because like you're just another platform that could also promote your own business stuff too.
Because
Do you need a personal to get the business, to get access to the business though?
Just creating a regular Instagram account, it's considered a personal one. And then you just have to change it through the steps that I have. And
okay,
I can also email
so
everyone.
Create a personal one, then convert it to business.
Right.
But I could also create another personal account just for me.
So I have 3 somehow. I think I may have been a 4, and it becomes a bit of a hassle, and it gets confusing, to be honest with you. And I end up posting wrong things in wrong accounts, and it's I think less is better for
Chris. That's because your names are too close together. They're too similar. Your names are too similar. I have 4 accounts.
I think one my kids set up as well, and I don't even have access to that.
So just change the handle.
Okay. And you can do that? You can change the name on these things?
We can also just delete it off of your phone, just so it's not as confusing for the ones that you don't use.
Okay. All right.
So
Carl, any questions? Go ahead.
Well, no, just a comment here, and it's actually apropos to nothing here, but I've been, as the discussion's been going on here, I've been searching around on Instagram, kind of looking at my competitors and whatnot. And so far, I've yet to find any of our competitors that have an Instagram account.
Good. Get a step ahead.
Based on what Alisa said, you might also want to be looking at Pinterest, being in the home improvement business.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually was going to have a campaign for Pella. You know Pella?
Yep.
Yeah, so I was going to have a campaign for Pella go live this month that had to be pretty much postponed to 2021 because of COVID. But they were targeting Pinterest and YouTube because of the category that, they're in, home improvement. And it was going to be a really exciting campaign. And it's a shame it's not happening, but I think they still have Instagram presence. I think it's just important to have a presence on each platform for appearances, really. I mean, like, you want to look as official as possible on every channel.
Ooh.
What about the California lippers that are hiding behind Greg's box there? Any questions out there?
It's just me, and no. I've taught Alisa everything she knows, so how could I have any questions?
And me, Samantha, so how about that?
Can you tell they're related?
Go ahead, Melissa, you had something?
So one of the Instagram accounts that I participate in, there's more than one person that leads the account, right? There's more than one active posting person. So I need to make sure that account becomes a business account. Is it okay that I do that? Because someone may have taken away I may not be the lead person on that account anymore. Do I need to be the lead person on that account? Do you know?
As long as you're logged into it, into the account, you can change pretty much anything that you'd like. But what you do change on your phone, like if you're on your phone, change it to a business account, it's going to change it on any other user's account.
It needs to be changed. So it's a business.
Right. Yeah. And then just like if you received a message, they're also going to receive the message on their phone as well.
All right. Anything else from anybody? Ladies, you did a great job. Thank you very much. You guys were great. And I just want to remind everybody of upcoming events, which I should have done in the beginning, and I apologize, that next Tuesday we have our social media where we all get together similar to this and start liking each other's posts and supporting each other on social media. We have Bang every Thursday at 4 o'clock, virtual area networking group, which is in about an hour. I hope you join us there. And we have a class coming up on getting more out of LinkedIn with Gilbert Abraham, who was with us a little while ago on here, and that's always great. And we now have a test drive for anybody who wants to try on the bus on the 4th Wednesday of the month. So if you know anybody who might be interested in our classes, please refer them to me and I'll invite them to a free class on the bus. And then we have in June 5th, the first Friday of the month is our Lunch and Learn, and I'll be sponsoring this one. Lunch is easy, so I'm going to jump all over that. I don't have to pay for lunch. But we are going to cookbook the rest of the year. So for those of you that have had a hiccup to your year and we need to recalibrate some of your goals and your behavioral goals, we can do that on June 5th. And thank you again all for coming. This is recorded. If anybody wants a copy, I can share that with you. Any final comments? All right, I'm going to stop the recording.
This is great. I want to chime in that if anybody can make it to social media on Tuesday, we can put this to practice, what we learned today.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can also, I'll have my dad forward the presentation that we made to everyone too.
All right, I'm going to stop the recording. I'm not going to close the meeting, so you guys can all BS for a little bit if you want.